What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan here with a brand new video. Today's video, I'm going over value quarterbacks this year in fantasy, whether you're doing dynasty or redraft. It really doesn't matter. It's easier to show an example going off of redraft, so I'm just going to go off that. But if you do have these quarterbacks or looking to pick somebody up who might help your team this year, these are going to be the guys. So obviously, you want a top 10 quarterback. You want the Josh Allen, the Mahomes, the Herbert, some of the more mobile guys like Lamar and Kyler. But let's say you can't get them. Let's say you have a certain game plan going in and the quarterbacks just don't fall where you are. You don't want to reach for a quarterback. And you end up going later in the draft, or you're hitting the 8th, 9th round, and you still don't have a quarterback. Is that necessarily bad? No, because I went after Brady and Stafford last year and both fell past the 8th round. And if you had Stafford or Brady, you had a top 5 quarterback in fantasy. So it's not the worst thing. Now, obviously, as you can see, I do like how Fantasy Pros kind of compares every website, so you can kind of see based off of what app you're using, of where these guys usually are in their ADP. So it's really nice. So I'll go over it. And it's starting off at quarterback 10 and 11 and even 12 for me. Like 13. Like 4 quarterbacks out of the top 10 that I love. So you get Stafford, Brady, Russ, and Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, if you're taking the risk of him being suspended. So for Dynasty, it's really good. For redraft, you're taking a big risk taking Deshaun Watson. If the legal stuff passes, I love Deshaun Watson, don't get me wrong. But Stafford, Brady, Russ are in that around 10, as you can see based off the apps, around that 10 mark of where they're getting drafted as far as quarterbacks. But now let's talk value. Let's say those guys are gone. Let's say you're hitting that round and you still don't have a quarterback for whatever reason. Obviously, Trey Lance is down there too. I do like Trey Lance. You get Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr. But I'm going to talk about some guys. So obviously, Tua, he is not something of where you want Tua and you're expecting him to win you your league, to go out there and put up a 30 or 40 point fantasy game to win you a week, a game. He's not that guy. If you need someone solid who you can afford of spending up and getting running backs and wide receivers in your top 4 picks, or you get a top tight end like a Mark Andrews, like, it's great. If Tua can consistently get you 15 to 20 points, now by all means, Josh Allen, Mahomes, all of them have that potential, but Tua has a lot of solid pieces there in Miami. Hopefully this season he's healthy so we can actually see what he does on the field. But he's some guy that I like if need be. I need a backup quarterback. He's a guy that I do like that falls pretty far in drafts with a lot of potential. A lot of guys are probably going to skip over him just because of past experience, and I'm okay with that if he falls to me. And I'm confident in the team that I have, and I was able to draft some other guys in the running back and wide receiver and tight end position, and I have to go Tua. I don't hate it, but I'm not expecting him to win me games. I expect him to put up a decent amount of points to where those other guys that I paid up for actually pay off. So we keep going down. Jameis Winston, healthy. I mean, what he did in Tampa Bay was amazing. What he has the potential to do in New Orleans, we didn't get to see because he was one behind Drew Brees, which is amazing for him. Gets a little more IQ in there. In number 2, he got hurt. So we haven't seen Jameis yet in New Orleans, and I'm really excited for it. He gets Kamara, he gets Michael Thomas, he gets Olave, he gets Landry, and it's going to be good. He's going to have a good offensive line. And Jameis Winston is a guy that could throw the ball very well. He might throw to the other team, don't get me wrong. But I'm interested to see if he's healthy, and it looks like he will be, of what he can do. And he falls really far. He is falling to the quarterback 20, and he has a very, very, in my opinion, other people won't see it the same way. In my opinion, I know what Kamara brings to that team and how the Saints kind of want to use their offense with Winston. of just depending on their defense to carry them. Winston throw 5 touchdowns against the Packers for less than 200 yards. I get it. I understand. But when they need to play against some of these high-powered offenses or very good defenses, Jameis Winston is a guy that could probably, in my opinion, get that job done, put up some good 20, 30, I won't say 40, but 20 to 30, a decent amount of games this season, and he's going as quarterback 20 plus in most drafts. Obviously, for me, Zach Wilson, I think getting Zach Wilson as a backup, he should not be a guy that you're going after for your quarterback one. I think the last guy that falls to me for quarterback one overall, I'm like, yeah, I could play this guy and be confident that I can win a league with this guy. Obviously, like I said, he won't be a guy that I expect to carry my team, but put up points, is Winston. After that, this is just backups. These are guys that you can maybe leverage for some trades in your season. And Zach Wilson, to me, has the best opportunity. If you're in Dynasty, this is the guy that you want with the potential. So he has a very young offense. He's going to have a very good defense. That's what they're shaping up, is that defense, but they also have a lot of weapons. They get Hall. Their receiver core is amazing. They get help in the tight end, and they get help on the offensive line. So Zach Wilson, we saw what the Jets had potential of doing. We didn't get to see Zach Wilson really do all of it. They a lot of quarterback changes last year with injuries and whatnot. But Zach Wilson has very good potential this year to have a very good fantasy year. I'm not projecting to, in my opinion, a top 10. But if I can get a top 12 to 15, I will be very satisfied of getting quarterback 24 to basically jump up an entire quarterback ranking. So for me, that's where I have him. Jared Goff is another guy. Yet again, I'll go to Sleeper, and it's why I like Sleeper, just how quickly I could pull up stats like this. Jared Goff in his career has not been what the Rams wanted him to be, and that's obviously why they traded for Matt Stafford. But we've seen Jared Goff, have some quarterback 1 years. Quarterback 13, quarterback 6, quarterback 12. We've seen him quarterback 20 and quarterback 24 last year, even though he was not there for all the games. So that plays a little bit of a factor. But Detroit, a lot of people just don't realize of how good the Lions' offensive line is. I'd say it's a top 10 offensive line in the league, easy. And they just add so many young weapons for Jared Goff. Another guy to where I'm not going after him in Dynasty, but if I have him in Dynasty, I think this is a very good year for Jared Goff, where he breaks the top 15 quarterbacks. That's jumping up 11 spots for where he's getting drafted in most of these. Quarterback 23, I guess. But Jared Goff, to me, is easily a top 15 quarterback this year in fantasy. If he plays, I'd say 15 games, Jared Goff is a quarterback 15 or above for me. There's just too many weapons. DJ Chark there, St. Brown, Williams, the Williams running back, and DeAndre Swift. There's so many weapons there for Jared Goff to use. A very good offensive line, and I can't forget TJ Hawkinson. Like, it is set up Jared Goff to have a very good year, and especially the division they're in. The Bears defense needs a lot of work. There's a lot of new pieces there. Minnesota's defense has been, I'd say, above average, but I wouldn't say elite. And then you have Green Bay, who does have a very good defense, but you're looking at least 4 games this season with a defense that Jared Goff can have some good games against. But to me, he easily is a top 15 quarterback this season. And then if all comes to worse and you need another quarterback and you don't know who to go after, Mariota, to me, we can find him here, is another guy that you just go after just because of the rushing upside. We've seen what he's done in Tennessee, and I'm not expecting anything out of Marcus Mariota. That the Falcons' offense is not set up. The team is not set up for anything for a few years before being actually competitive. I mean, you look at the wide receiver, and granted, they don't have their rookie. But still, there's not a lot that screams like, yeah, Mariota is set up for a good year. It's just his rushing. It's almost similar to Jalen Hurts in a way. I'm not comparing him to Jalen Hurts last year, but the aspect of Marcus Mariota probably isn't going to get you any points passing the football, but it's his rushing upside. I think he's very smart when running on the field. Doesn't do anything too careless, but isn't afraid to take risks either. So that's probably the last guy. If you're going anybody here, we can go and look at this list down here. Matt Ryan with the Colts. I'd say if there was weapons for the Colts, Matt Ryan would be reliable. He's a good quarterback, one of the best passing quarterbacks in a very long time in this league of just consistency. Is Matt Ryan. There's just no weapons there. Trevor Lawrence, I'm not going to trust him after what I've seen last year. Trubisky and Pickett, we don't even know who the starter is. I know a lot of people are high on Davis Mills. I just can't see it. I can't get behind it. I don't think Davis Mills has an amazing year this year. I think teams are just thrown off of how well he was performing for a rookie quarterback on that team. I think a lot of teams are going to be more prepared for him. I'm not saying he's anything special, but they're going to be more prepared for a quarterback that they have more information on. Daniel Jones, I see Tyrod Taylor playing some games this season for Daniel Jones. So yeah, that is my list of guys to, if for one, these are the guys I'm targeting: Stafford, Brady, Russ. And then if the legal news, Deshaun Watson, Trey Lance is there, obviously, as well. But Stafford, Brady, Russ are my three guys to where if they fall to me in the 8th, 9th round, possibly 7th, depending on my team, those are the guys that I want. Tua is the guy right there. Derek Carr at 16. I'm going to take more of a risk at Tua than Derek Carr. I've seen what Derek Carr could do. I want to see what Tua has the capability of doing. And then Jameis Winston is the last quarterback where I would take him as your quarterback one. You should have a very stacked team if you're getting Jameis Winston as your quarterback one. Let me be honest there. Same thing with Tua. Your team better be stacked and ready if those are your quarterback ones. But if you do need them, they're there. If you need a quarterback two, they're there. That has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback this season. Zach Wilson, like I said, I'm not expecting a top 10 performance out of him this year. But if he can get 12 to 15, I'd enjoy that. And Jared Goff, I do expect him to get top 15. But as far as upside, I can't see a top 10. But a top 15 is value for going at, as a 26th quarterback. So I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys agreed or disagree, feel free to leave a comment and let's have a conversation with it of why you agree or why you disagree, and maybe go off of that and find some information out that maybe I didn't know or you didn't know, and go from there. So anyway, like I said, if you guys enjoyed it, just leave a like, and I will see you in the next video.